Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ezeal. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I've retired from Terra and kind of moved on to playing some other various games. Right now I'm actually playing this game called State of Decay that recently came out about a week or two ago for the PC. I think it used to be a console type game. It's basically a premise of like a zombie apocalypse sandbox, and if you enjoy like Walking Dead, you probably will enjoy this kind of niche game. It's produced by Microsoft and developed by Undead Labs, and like I said, you can find it on Steam. And you can literally go anywhere. There's no goal, there's no end in sight. There's zombies that spawn continuously, and so you're continually trying to find resources to keep your outpost basically alive. So it's kind of, I guess, the goal is not to lose all your survivors. Now, one of the things I found was that the quest in this game, there was a storyline quest and then there were sideline quests, and really you can't tell the difference until you actually get there for the most part, I think, because the story quests actually are probably, they had those like cutscenes that you go through, and that's really the only way that you can tell that it's more of a main story than really a sideline quest. Now, when you do quests, you get various rewards, you get morale boost, you get influence and fame. Influence and fame are probably the most important things you can gain in the game, because influence is kind of like the in-game currency. If you want to get certain equipment, bullets, guns, from your main base, from the stash, you're going to have to get that influence up. If you want to get people to come and watch your back, you're going to have to get your influence up as well. Now, fame is a little bit different. What it does is it more fame basically means that you're going to have more influence added each day, because influence actually degrades over time even if you're not using it. So you're always going to have to keep doing something. You're always going to have to be doing missions, or you're going to have to be grabbing supplies and bringing those back so you can increase your influence and what you do basically for the group. Now, the one thing about this game that I find interesting is it's a very hardcore game where if you lose a survivor, they're basically gone forever. And you can actually lose them while you're not even in game, which is kind of interesting as well. And the reason it's such a big deal is because every single survivor has their own unique skill sets they bring that can help your group. So you could basically increase your abilities, you can increase your shooting, your running, your fighting, your searching, and you also can get some special techniques with various survivors based off of whatever their skill sets are. So if you've built somebody up and you lose them, it really freaking sucks. Now, if you have to make sure that you have supplies even while you're offline, like I mentioned. If you don't have your medical supplies, your food, there's a potential that people could die. There's also an opportunity where people could turn. One thing that I found is that some of the things I didn't like about this game was that the camera views were very difficult to use, because you can't change the view. You have one view. The only thing I think you can do is you can swap, kind of like if you're in a gun mode where you go left to the right shoulder type thing. But overall, combat is difficult because if you're not careful, then zombies can really sneak up on you. I don't know if that's kind of an intentional thing maybe, but I do know that it makes it for a very interesting game when a zombie just comes from behind. You didn't even realize he was coming to attack you basically. Now, with there's various vehicles in the game that all have various speeds and tasks and things that you can use them for, and you can literally total them while you hit zombies, which makes perfect sense. But at the same time, there were certain things you can hit in the game, like beams and whatnot, and not even damage your vehicle. So there were some unrealistic aspects of the game that I didn't really care too much for. Now, even when you're away, or even when you're playing the game, survivors in your camp, besides yourself, can actually go wherever they want randomly, and you have to actually come and bail them out. So you'll get like a radio command that tells you, hey, you've got to go save Allie, and then you've got to go halfway across the map, and so those could be annoying. But the thing is you definitely want to make sure that you do go and save those particular survivors, because if you don't, you're going to lose a labor that will be at your camp while you're offline creating resources. Now, it takes a lot to be able to get support, or you have to trick the system basically by getting survivors to run and give you help before bringing them back to your camp. And what I mean is you have to use your influence to basically ask a survivor, hey, come with me, I want you to come watch my back, help me get supplies and things of that nature. Now, you can switch between any of them, there's no cost for that, but to have like 2 or 3 members with you, you're going to have to pay 100 influence per person, and that's very expensive, because that influence is also used for basically your radio commands if you want to do specific things like increase your vitality, your stamina, things of that nature. Now, the biggest thing for me, as far as like the biggest negative effect, was they have trucks in the game, and you get these big rucksacks of like supplies. you literally have to carry those rug sets on your shoulder back to your base camp. I tried to put like 4 bags in the back of a truck and drive off, thinking I was going to be all smooth. Nope, they basically just sit in midair and they don't do anything, so that was kind of annoying. The biggest other gripe I had was the repetitiveness of the radio commands. They weren't original, so you'll get these little things over the radio where they tell you to go do something, and they'll come over again and again and again. There's only like 2 or 3 phrases they use for a specific quest or missions, so that can get kind of annoying as well, and I haven't found an option to turn that off yet. And then additionally, the missions themselves can actually be pretty repetitive, so if you don't like kind of grinding up those missions, you might not enjoy this too much, especially when you're having to go back and forth between places that are about 1 and 2 minutes away. And my favorite, there's no skipping on the cutscenes whatsoever if you're doing main quests, so that can be rather annoying as well if you're restarting. Now, with the pros, some of the things I really enjoyed was if you have your camera angle right, there's actually some of the combats where the camera will go slow motion, and it'll kind of accentuate kind of that swing as you're standing over the zombie, swinging your club and smashing their freaking head in, or kneeing their skull in, or doing a swan dive if you push them from behind and jumping on their back on top of their head. And basically, you got to make sure you have to headshot everything. If you don't headshot, then basically they're going to keep coming at you. So it's very similar to the Walking Dead aspect of that. Now, I do love the openness. It gives you an ability to just create, your own outpost, create what priorities you want to do for your camp, and then on top of that, there's add-ons you can do for your outpost. And so those add-ons are actually vitally important because certain add-ons will give you additional stamina, which makes fighting and running easier. Some give you better vitality. Some give you the ability to create food, such as gardens, cook food in the kitchen. You got to make sure everybody has beds and things of that nature. So I found those aspects very interesting for you to decide exactly what's most important, because you can't actually do everything at one time at your base camp. Now, there is a small degree of politics with various factions, and you can trade with them, so you want to make sure that you stay trusted and do whatever you can to foster those relationships, because they can help you out. Now, the one thing I think that's really cool is that no matter what noise you do, if you're honking a horn, shooting a gun, if there's zombies in the area, they're going to be coming and chasing to you. So if you're not careful and you're stuck inside a building, you can get screwed basically with a swarm of zombies coming. And the other thing too, on top of that, I actually brought a couple of herds back to my outpost one time thinking that, oh, they're not going to come in here. Well, they'll actually climb the walls of your outpost and start running in. So it was pretty cool seeing like 10 of the NPCs fighting alongside me and actually fighting off these zombies. Now, if you can stock up if you put the effort into it, so that way you have all the supplies you need. That was actually something I thought was very cool. And then if you park your vehicle into designated parking spots, you can actually have them repaired overnight, as well as your weapons. And speaking of weapons, there's actually a wide variety of guns, ammunitions, and types of things that you can get, and special techniques you can learn with those. And I think the last thing is if you search into a house or something and you haven't cleared it, zombies can appear out of nowhere, it feels like. And if you're searching and you make a loud noise, they'll come and they'll find you as well. And I would definitely like to see a multiplayer ability or do a speed run. I think that would add to the aspect of the game. But overall, for $20, I think I got my money's worth, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I've put in probably about 50 hours. So, hopefully this helps give you guys an idea of what State of Decay is about. If you have any questions, leave them in my YouTube video, or you can find me on Reddit. Until next time, happy hunting.